Alright, second lesson, now we get into conformity in our unit on cults. Brief summary of the lesson plan here. We're looking at normative and informational social influence. It's really not given a lot of guidance on what we need to teach about conformity, so I think it's good to explain why it happens. You might find this video is a little long for 12 minutes. I used to think 12 to 15 was fine for students. I now think anything over 10 is pushing it. It's pretty interesting. You may want to just get to the part that reviews the authority principle. Two really good books for your classroom or your library, Biology and Brainwashed. Really interesting stuff in there about how companies use psychology to sell stuff, essentially. Nice little fill in the blanks. My activities aren't world changing. Stuff from primary school, but it's effective, I think, right? And once they fill in these blanks, this reviews what we've just done. Now they've got a model short answer question. If you did the introduction unit, you would have already seen my favorite fella here on the dance floor, on the dance hill. You could watch this, and then it's just a classic example of conformity. You could rewatch it if you like, or just maybe skip through it quickly. This is a good, the question, why? Why would that happen? Why would all those people rush to join the group? Alternatively, or in addition, there's this clip of this waiting room experiment. And then this one here from Facebook shows, I think it's from Candid Camera, from about the 60s probably, of conformity. I think these are actors. I think this is a setup. I'm probably stating the obvious, but if you look at it, I think they're not very, this guy's, anyway, it's not real, but I don't give that away to the students. They kind of like it. All right, think, peer, share. Can they think of any real life examples? I really like trying to tap into what they've seen in the world. That's what we're trying to explain, right? If they see anything in the news or social media, maybe they've seen their own version of the guy on the hill dancing. Strict definition of conformity. Because I wonder about it in SAQ of students, writing, conformity is when people go along with the group. So, yep, technically accurate. Would they score high marks if they did something a bit more technical? Well, maybe I think if we just define conformity like this, and they have good explanations of informational and normative social influence, it would be fine. A note on the images. See, I love this image, but even this, I'm hesitant to put this in the slideshow because I don't have rights to it, but I think it's been copied so many times that we don't know who owns it. Anyway, got to be careful with that. So another AI generated image here. Bit of chalk and talk. Informational social influence, normative social influence. And then a simple activity in the workbook. Got some explanations here, and they write down if it's normative or informational. Now, with a lot of these workbook activities, it's not necessarily about getting the right answer. This is just putting some of the cognitive load back onto them, getting them engaging, thinking about it, just thinking really about these terms and weighing it up. That's the purpose of it. You could possibly even make an argument for some of them it's either. I'm okay with that. And again, a note, I always put myself in these lesson plans, and I feel a bit silly doing it, but I can't really write it for you because I don't know who you are. There's so many of you. So always, I'm not precious about this stuff. Please remove me and put yourself in there if you'd rather be, or just make it generic if you find it's weird that I'm always referring to myself. That's probably just my the world revolves around me mentality. Heaven's Gate. Think peer share. Did they think it was the mass? The mass suicide it's such a bizarre thing. Why did they do it? Was this conformity? Was it informational? Were they like, do I go along? Do I not? Or like, I don't want to seem like I'm weird. And this is a really good example where they're probably going to say, I think the students might go, not really. Would you kill yourself just because everyone else was doing it? That classic, if mum said, well, so-and-so jumped off a bridge, would you? So then it shows the limitation of these explanations of conformity that, well, they might explain things when there's minimal consequences, like standing up in a waiting room, but what about when there's real consequences? Like if everyone's following orders in the My Lai massacre or in a cult. Okay, got some reading. And then another nice 4-minute video on the Ash documentary. There used to be a really good one hosted by Zimbardo, but I couldn't find it. If anyone can find it, that'd be great. Now, question here, are these normative or informational? Now, the answer really should be, I think, normative. because it can't be informational because they get it right 99% of the time when they're by themselves. However, when Ash was doing the interviews for the experiment, some of them were saying things like, well, there were 4 of them and 1 of me, and maybe I was wrong. So it can actually be argued either, but I think with the 99%, it's easiest to argue that it's normative. Space there for the notes. My lesson plans, I think, are erring on the side of going over 60 minutes, of having too much in them, and it's a little bit deliberate. Like I like to walk into a lesson going, all right, guys, we've got a lot to get through today, we've got a lot to do, let's get cracking, rather than, okay, how am I going to stretch this out to fit a class? Also means you can, cut things out if you don't like them. But my point being is, 10 minutes to write these notes might not be enough time, and then that's where the homework can be a good idea. Students could also be encouraged, if you are following the lessons by lessons, they can get ahead by reading the next one. All right, I think it's a pretty cool lesson on conformity.